I find it really hard to believe John Harbaugh doesn't get hired.
Well, if you hear 45 minutes after he was released, fired, whatever you want to call it, 7 teams reached out to him, and some of those teams have coaches.
Well, so do the math on that. There's now 7 openings, and if 7 teams had reached out, one of them's the team that just fired him, so they're not reaching out.
They're not reaching out. So there is a team out there that has a coach that said, hey, what's up, dog?
Well, I think if you're looking around, and we're going to get into what Washington's doing next at offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator, but if you're looking around and you were Todd Bowles or Mike McDaniel, and you get through Black Monday, you're the coach of the Tampa Bay Bucks or the Miami Dolphins, and you get through Black Monday, you're probably feeling pretty good. You're probably feeling pretty good right up until John Harbaugh gets fired in Baltimore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
but you know what, though, bro? I sit here and I listen to people when a head coach gets fired or released, and I truly wonder, are those coaches feeling are the coaches feeling
Shout out to Jeff, the engineer. The Monumental, put Jeff on TV trying to figure this out. It's going great here.
Well, I may be off or something, but we'll see. But
you and I can hear each other talk, so at least until the break, we're okay.
I just think that, you look at coaches when they have a year, 2, 4, 5 years left on their contract, they get fired. They still get paid now.
Sure.
Okay, especially head coaches. And the guys that are like a John Harbaugh, I reached out to John last night, and I'm sure I'll get a message from him eventually.
He probably had a lot going on.
Yeah, he had a lot going on. But like the thing of it, I have been through, like the coaches I've become real close with, I've reached out to them over these years, and I get a response back because I have a relationship with those guys at a level that was beyond just being a coach and a player. You know what I mean? And I think those guys will be okay. When David Culley got released that time, I reached out to David, and he's like, I said, how you doing, man? He said, yeah, nobody want to get fired, but I'm cool. Because he had 4 years left on that damn contract, at like, what, $6-7 million a year. And I know it ain't all about the money, but you know what? That's a great relief when I'm getting fired, but I'm still getting paid. Because most of us, when we get fired, we don't get paid.
Sure. I think, Culley, if I remember right, I think that team went 2-14, and he probably wasn't surprised to be fired. I think a dude
that was his first year. So,
right.
And I don't think anybody in their first year, you expect them to come out there and do great. There have been coaches come out in their first year, second year, third, 5 years.
Regardless,
I'm just saying.
Yes, they get paid, for sure.
Yeah.
I think Todd Bowles has been very clear he doesn't think he deserves to be fired. He's like, we won the division 3 straight times. Mike McDaniel, they fire the GM. He goes 5-2, I think, down the stretch. I think both. My point is to what you're saying about, all right, there are 7 openings already, and one of them is checking in with Harbaugh, and that clearly means it's one team with a head coach in place.
Yeah.
The coaches, and who knows, man? I mean, if you look around the league where that could be, I think the questions were about what's going to happen in Tampa. Okay, looks like Todd's okay. What's going to happen in Miami? Oh, looks like Mike's okay. Now it's a little different when you got a guy. Landfill gave me the stat, dude. The Arizona Cardinals, and previously the Phoenix Cardinals, previously the St. Louis Cardinals, they've been around for 106 years. They have 11 playoff appearances. That must mean like playoff appearances, because just in the Super Bowl run, I think they had to win 4 games to get there. You know what I mean? Not necessarily playoff wins, but playoff appearances. John Harbaugh had 12 playoff appeariences in 18 seasons.
That's just a bad franchise.
Sure.
But like the thing,
he's also a good coach.
I know we look at Tampa, we look at Miami. It could be a team that we're not even thinking of. Because when a guy of that caliber gets on the market, somebody might be looking at their team right now and saying, we've been average. We've been winning, but we're not taking that step. I'll go get him.
Let's go through where it's not, right? It's not Denver. It's not New England. It's not Jacksonville. It's not Houston. It's not the Chargers. They're not going to fire his brother to bring him in.
Yeah, he wouldn't take that one.
Right. Since he ain't doing it, they're too cheap. They're not going to blow everybody out to bring him in. It's not Kansas City.
Nah.
Unless you think Andy is telling Hunt, like, hey, man.
I might ride off in the sunset. That'd be a good dude to get.
Do you think there's any chance of that? I find it hard to believe, but It's interesting.
My last conversation with Andy, I think Andy wants to do it a little longer. But then again, there was something in there that kind of told me that the end is kind of getting near.
That'd be hella interesting. The Browns, obviously. The Raiders, obviously. You think the Jets, who just told Aaron Glenn he's cool, do you think that changes?
Could be.
That's a could be.
I mean, that's a could be. But like, I would look at that situation and look at John and say, do you want to take on that? Do you want to deal with that dude up there?
I agree with you.
You know what I'm saying?
Like, if you're John Harbaugh, you get to be pretty selective.
See, certain coaches can choose what they want. Two of them that I've been looking at, New York, Raiders.
I think
those two, I think, are kind of.
Listen, I don't want to be morbid here, but I think I don't know if you watched Hard Knocks last night, but it's been reported that John Mara is pretty sick, dealing with cancer. If you're John Mara and you're like, all right, I'm gonna get this dude to put my franchise back on track, I think you feel great about that going forward.
Hell yeah!
Like, since they fired Coughlin, which they probably shouldn't have done in hindsight, it's been a mess up there. It's been a mess.
Yep.
And now you're getting somebody of that caliber, right? Somebody with the ring, somebody with the stability, leader of men, tactician, all those things.
Listen, you get around some coaches that are happy to be a coach in the NFL, and you get around other coaches who are there to work and get it done.
To win.
John is that dude.
Yeah, I think, to me, the Giants are the top of the list. As far as the organizations that maybe reach out, Buffalo's the 6th seed. All of a sudden, Buffalo was supposed to be the cream of the crop in the AFC East for a long time. All of a sudden, New England's back on top.
Yeah.
If you're the owner, if you're the Pagulas, and Sean has been good, do you want somebody that maybe has done it? I don't know that answer. But like, when you think about what teams have reached out, I don't know that it'd be Buffalo. KC would be fascinating. The Raiders, the Jets, the Titans all make sense.
But you know where I met with that situation, OJ? They said 45 minutes after he retired, after he was fired, that happened. We way beyond 45 minutes now. Probably some other people already reached out too.
Look through the NFC. It's not Seattle. It's not Chicago. Any chance Howie called?
Howie Roseman?
Yeah.
Nah.
I don't think so either.
Nah, I don't think that one.
Okay. I don't think it'd be Carolina. It's certainly not the Rams. It's not the Niners. Could Green Bay have called? I doubt it. LaFleur's been great.
So, yeah.
Minnesota ain't calling. You got O'Connell. Detroit ain't calling.
I think the guys with quarterbacks, I don't know if John will be that guy. Because, I mean, the head coaches that are offensive-minded guys with a younger quarterback, younger level quarterback, I think those people would feel better with the offensive coach.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
That's why I think it's not Minnesota, it's not Detroit. I think Tampa's really interesting. Atlanta's obviously interesting. I don't think the Saints, after the season, the success they just had late in the year with Shook and Kellen Moore calling plays, the Giants, the Cardinals, those are all obvious ones. It seems to me John Harbaugh ends up with the New York Giants. That's just my gut all the way. But this is because the Rooney Rule really slows down the hiring process. And now there's a number of rules and stipulations in place for when and how you can talk to head coaching candidates that are coordinators on other playoff teams. Like, the process goes slow now. Nobody's getting hired tomorrow. Even in Washington for these coordinator jobs, nothing's going to happen immediately. So if
2 weeks, probably you see some movements.
You can probably get your first hire done like that week after MLK, right? So that MLK's 2 weeks out, I think, like the week after, so January 23rd-ish. And it depends on what teams get knocked out of the playoffs and who becomes available for interviews and all that stuff. But all I'm saying is, now that Harbaugh's on the market, I think some jobs that seemed okay, you're all right.
I think he get hires first, and then everything starts to happen.
What I'm saying is, I think some dudes could get fired that we weren't expecting still going into this weekend. And I think with Harbaugh out, I think it's pretty interesting with Tomlin. What happens if Pittsburgh gets blown out Monday night by Houston? I think that job is Tomlin's as long as he wants it. That's always been kind of my read with Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
But 6 weeks ago, there were fire Tomlin chants in the stands. You know?
It's been like that for 6 years.
Sure.
So,
And they haven't had playoff success in 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I think those are kind of the last mysteries to me. Still, though, my gut says Harbaugh to the Giants. And
when you look at a Harbaugh being fired, you know we always ask the question, who you going to hire? Who you going to hire that's much better than Harbaugh? Who you going to hire that's much better than Tomlin? When you start looking around, I understand, yes, we get tired and we want to hire somebody else and people push for it, but who the hell you going to get that's better?
Dog,
that question, I think, is a question that has never been answered when people ask that question, who you going to get this better? Especially for somebody of their level.
In college sports, you hear this all the time, fire the coach, fire the coach.
Mm-hmm.
Who you going to get? Who you going to get? And Baltimore, I'm with you. I think the management up there, ownership up there, really patient, long-term view, have the right ideas, and eventually you need a change. I also wonder, late in the season, you started to hear the first public reporting of Lamar's shortcomings, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
There was an article in the Baltimore Sun by a dude that's been in Baltimore a long time, a respected columnist, saying Lamar's not a bad guy. He's just not that focused. There's different rules for Lamar and the organization and everybody else. And like when you start to have different rules for different people, sometimes that speaks to a fragmentation. To me, as I look at this, clearly the organization, like any talk of Lamar being traded, I bet is done now.
Mm-hmm.
Like whoever's coming into Baltimore is coming in with the clear marching order.
I want that dude.
That's our guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm not sure that's the wrong decision, frankly. A dude of that talent, you got to keep him healthy, but that's the case around the NFL.
Mm-hmm.